Welcome back to G&S Inside Story. I'm Chelsea D'Amore, an account director here at G&S Business Communications. And today I'm joined by my friend and fellow account director, Kristen Carmen, to talk about a critical aspect of the work we do, which is executive visibility. Hello, Kristen.
Hi, Chelsea. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. So we're here to talk about the importance of having a strategic executive visibility or thought leadership program at your company. I'll start by saying that calling the current news cycle tumultuous is probably underselling it, and it's about to get even more intense as the US presidential election kicks off in the weeks ahead. It's been a landmark year globally for major elections, geopolitical conflict, climate conversations, other important societal conversations. And business leaders have a responsibility to determine how to use their platform to best represent the organizations they work for. They are the human touch point between a company, a corporate brand, and the larger societal ecosystem that those companies play in. So, Kristen, with a task as monumental as this, where do you recommend executives begin to develop their own visibility strategy?
Yeah, Chelsea, they need to remember that they're not alone. They have a team of communications experts that's planning and executing their company's broader comm strategy. And that team should be facilitating a thought leadership program that complements the goals of the company at large. Any executive eminence or thought leadership program should be rooted in a strong messaging framework and a deep understanding of what you want to communicate to your various audiences. As a leader, you should also involve your full leadership team to share the weight of being a spokesperson. It's not all on you. Each individual in a relevant job title like CMO, CFO, CEO needs to have that clearly defined platform to create consistency and also confidence. One of our clients, for example, in the home and building space, has a clearly defined messaging point for its main brand spokesperson to speak to various audiences. But they also have clearly defined messaging for its chief marketing officer to speak to those more niche marketing audiences that the brand spokesperson isn't necessarily speaking to.
Makes sense. When we work with many of our professional services and finance clients, we call it defining their swim lanes. Who's going to own what topic stream when an opportunity about that topic comes in the door.
Exactly. And organizing the hierarchy of messaging points alongside both of the goals of your business and the expertise of that leadership team will help make this process easier and just determine who will speak to what, when, and how you can remain consistent across all points. Then you can determine which channels you'll use to deliver those points. So, Chelsea, how should leaders be preparing themselves to go out into the world and speak on these issues in real time?
Well, strong message delivery takes practice, and it never hurts to go back to the basics. Public speaking is nerve-wracking no matter how long you've been doing it, and you only have one chance to get it right when you're speaking to a reporter or in front of an audience at an event or having a one-on-one conversation with an important stakeholder. This is especially true in moments of crisis or when talking about high-risk topics. This requires executives setting aside time to sharpen up on these skills. Things like bridging, which is, bringing ideas together to guide a conversation. Practicing things like brevity, because a long-winded answer isn't always a better one. Communicating clear and concise messaging is a muscle that requires training and retraining. At G&S, we work with leaders who are stepping into this role for the first time, as well as seasoned leaders who are guiding some of the biggest B2B brands in the world. Everyone needs to train on these skills because they are so vital to that leadership role. Your communications partners that are helping secure opportunities to speak with reporters or at a conference or in any other public setting can also help make sure that you're comfortable with your message and the roles of engagement. Like Kristen, you said before, they're not alone. We will always, as communication partners, want to make sure that executives feel like they're having a productive interaction no matter who their audience is. So we've talked about traditional media and live communication, but what about social media? What should business leaders be doing with their public profiles online?
Yeah. So we've worked with many leaders with varying levels of comfort on social. For some, of course, it feels like a chore, especially if they're not used to being authentic and putting themselves out there in a more personal way on a very public platform. Social media is a great tool, of course, for sharing that deeper look into their day-to-day responsibilities, their priorities, personal, but also for their business life. Um, and so it's really important that they're engaging on social. LinkedIn reports that they have more than 8 million C-suite executives on the platform. If some of those or many of those profiles are laying dormant, that's a missed opportunity for you as a leader to represent your organization, but also building out your own individual leadership brand, which is just vital these days. Just like your company's broader social media strategy, there needs to be thoughtfulness and strategy behind your content stream that, of course, ties back to the thought leadership and messaging platform I talked about earlier. Authenticity is number one here. The public can always tell when a leader is not being themselves, not being authentic, or just inserting themselves into conversations that aren't done with authenticity. And so your posts need to be driven by your voice, your experiences, but also the aspects of your work that really inspire you every day. So, of course, building trust is the benefit of all of this. Chelsea, you said earlier the role of the executive is to serve as that human touch point for an organization. So these are vital conversations about the future of your business, but also the future of society as a whole. And you need to be engaged in them. Having that sound comm strategy for yourself, but also your company, will help you be a responsive and trustworthy voice in a very loud, very active, as you said before, marketplace.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you, Kristen, for joining me for this conversation on executive visibility.
Thank you, Chelsea.
And if you want more inside stories, feel free to visit gscommunications.com.